The situation in Chechnya is getting even worse, but the US State Department is finally taking action. Kind of. Police attacks against queer people are ramping up in Indonesia and Nigeria, while other countries are decriminalizing homosexuality. And in the US, the federal government has introduced new rules to stop foster kids from finding homes with same-sex parents. We'll have the week's top LGBT news and actions you can take on Weekly Debrief. Weekly Debrief is made possible by everyone who pledges $1 or more a month on Patreon. Head over to patreon.com/mattbaum or click the links in the description to join the folks who make the show possible. The Supreme Court this week removed a hurdle to Republican attempts to fire trans people from the military. One injunction still remains, so the firings can't start right away, but the administration says that they're going to challenge that injunction as well, so this is definitely a setback. Also this week, tens of thousands of people joined an impromptu live stream to raise money for the UK trans charity Mermaids. Hosted by game critic H. Bomber Guy, guests on the stream included Chelsea Manning and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and they raised over $350,000. The US State Department has finally noticed that queer people are dying in Chechnya. This week they took the bold step of putting out a statement calling for an investigation. New reports indicate that Chechen police are kidnapping, torturing, and holding queer people for ransom, as well as demanding that families kill gay relatives. The State Department is now officially deeply disturbed and wants Russia to launch an investigation. This wave of violence has lasted for 2 years, and investigations have already been done. Russia denies that anything bad is happening, while the Organization for Cooperation and Security in Europe says that it's even worse than we thought. So, there's your investigations. They're done. International violence against queer people has been growing steadily worse in the last few years, coincidentally after the US backed away from Obama-era initiatives to expand civil rights protections abroad. Also this week, police-led religious gangs stormed an HIV organization's headquarters in Indonesia. A police official in Nigeria told queer people to leave the country or else face 14 years in jail, and Egypt jailed a television host for interviewing a gay man on TV. There is some good news. Angola decriminalized homosexuality this week, and Kenya could follow suit. A ruling there is due on February 22nd. Meanwhile, in the US, the Department of Health and Human Services just issued new guidelines allowing adoption agencies to block children from finding homes with same-sex parents. The new rules only apply to South Carolina for now, but they could spread to other states. And Google is continuing to offer an app in its store that promotes ex-gay abuse. The organization Truth Wins Out has been pushing for Google to block the app, as Apple has already done, but so far, it's still there. So, action items for this week. If you want to help out with what's going on in Chechnya, get in touch with the Russian LGBT network. They've been helping queer people escape the country, but it costs roughly $5,000 to get each victim to safety. Or you can connect with Truth Wins Out to help them pressure Google to remove that ex-gay app from the store. And in general, stay safe and do what you can to help queer folks who are fighting for their lives around the world. Let me know about stories that need covering at MattBaum on Twitter and in the YouTube comments. Thanks to everyone who makes Weekly Debrief possible with a pledge of $1 or more a month on Patreon. Head over to patreon.com/MattBaum or click the link in the description to join them. And I'll debrief you next week.